and tell us a little bit about themselves and their background, and also to share My apologies there, everyone. I was kicked out of Zoom. So as I was saying before I was kicked out, inshallah, I'd like to invite our esteemed guests to introduce themselves and tell us the initial thoughts they had when they encountered this topic. And some of the things that I would like us to touch in this discussion today are any maybe principles that you go by when it comes to business, any golden rules that come to mind. And also we want to touch on, practical real life examples. We want to think about perhaps what are those perspectives and mindsets that need to be changed within the community. So for instance, within our Yoruba Muslim community, perhaps there's a big emphasis on academic achievement, and perhaps we look down on those who get their wealth from trade. And, we all want to be able to say, oh, my son and daughter is a doctor, is an accountant, is a lawyer, whereas the one who owns a corner shop selling fish and selling meat, perhaps we don't have as much pride saying that, but perhaps that person is able to unlock and unleash wealth in a way that the one who is on a salary perhaps cannot. So these are the things I want us to, delve into, perhaps around the topic of raising capital to start a business, the difficulty when it comes to, operating in the environment where riba is what happens. Perhaps what are those things that we think about when we go into partnerships? There's many Muslims who may think, I actually prefer to do business with a non-Muslim, because they're not going to try and do this to me, or they're not, what are these mindsets that perhaps are pervasive within the community that we need to try to unpack, need to try to unlock. So inshallah, I'm going to invite Dr. Kazeem to kick us off, and inshallah we will go to Alhaji Kayode to follow up, inshallah. So bismillah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Yeah, thank you very much, my dear brother. Thank you for the opportunity. As a starting point, I would like to give my background, and then as we already rather steered to this particular topic, we also mention a few things I think this particular topic entails, basically. Well, I am a chartered accountant, and that's my background. Though I've worked, I was banker for many years even before I came to this country, and I've involved in a lot of businesses in the past, and currently I'm also into business or businesses. I have a lot of interest in real estate and anything that is called business, basically. So yes, apart from that, because of the my background and the affection for business, I did my PhD in finance as well. I love money a lot. So I did my PhD in finance, and I major in how we can actually raise funds for new businesses. That's where my main focus was in my PhD thesis. So when I saw this particular topic, I think it is something that we really need within our community, because as we already said, we believe so much in paid job, white collar job, and the way, maybe because of my background, my parents, they didn't go to school at all, right? My both parents, they didn't go to school, and they were pure business people. And alhamdulillah, we are 13, all of us, we went to school. they sent all of us to school, and it's from this business, all these their ventures, that they were able to sponsor all of us. And there is a saying that they always, the mantra they give to us when we were growing up is that if you really want to be successful in life, you don't rely on your 9 to 5. The Yoruba people says, "Ishe omalasheje, owo omalashela." I'm sorry, I will be using some proverbs here because of Arugolemi. I know my brother Taofeeq will love that. Yeah,
yes,
so
yes, I'm enjoying you. I'm enjoying you. MashaAllah. Barakallahu. And already before looking at K Money's face alone, I'm entertained. So I've told Taofiq Akinpeju, who is the chairman, to focus on the two of you. I will be at the background, and then inshallah we'll chip in something in the future. I mean, the later time, inshallah.
Yeah.
All right, King Salam, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah,
King
thank
Salam.
you very much. Yeah, so so that is why I look at when my dear brother Taofiq Akinpeju contacted me, I felt that this is more of poverty alleviation talk per se, and is what we really need in our community, not just in the UK but anywhere in the world. So it is more of trying to reorientate ourselves to ensure that we are actually thinking in the right direction. When we continue the discussion, I will emphasize on, I will try to elaborate on what I mean by thinking in the right direction. But this is just a topic that we really need within the community. It's something that we should not only within our age group, it's something we should teach our children, our coming generation. And if we really focus on it, we do not have any limits. And then I know any effort that we put on board, I know Allah is always happy with people who actually put in effort, and He will surely bless our endeavor. So that's just the opening from my hand for now.
Barakallahu Fiqh, Dr. Kazeem. All right, over to our brother Alhaji Kayode. Bismillah. We wanted to know a little bit about yourself and also your first thoughts when you heard the topic.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Kayode Quadri, and I've been a friend to the doctor that just spoke. I'm not a doctor. I might be a doctor someday. He has said a lot about the what his background is. For me, I'm more into business myself. I went to school. I went to school not as much as a doctor. I did an MBA in Germany, and I did an MA in global business in University of Westminster in the UK here. However, for me, I focus more on business. Business is what I see as entrepreneurship generally is what I love to do. It's something I like so much. So when this topic came to me, it's something that I've always discussed even with Brother Taofeeq about this kind of a thing that's happening in our community. What exactly we can do. And on our own side, there are a few things here and there that we do in terms of empowerment and enlightenment in terms of, okay, how can people better themselves in regards to wealth creation. So the topic, I so much love it. I like the fact that people, rather than just being people who just work for people, because the Nigerian spirit is that most of us are entrepreneurship naturally. We are entrepreneurs naturally, sorry. But the opportunity, opportunity happens to people. If your mind is open, when you see opportunities, you grab. But if your mind is not open, opportunities will be passing you. It's just like if you want to buy a car, for example. If you're thinking of buying a blue Benz, suddenly you start seeing blue Benz all around you. It means your mind, it means your mind is open to something. When your mind is open to something, that's what happens to it. And one thing I've learned in the business since I started doing business is that there's always one route to wealth. Is a problem, solution, money follows. That's the rule, nothing else. You identify a problem, you find a solution, money will follow. So that's the route that I see within the when it comes to the business arena. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope I will be able. I know I'm not the best to be on this seat talking to people, but I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, not at all, not at all. Barakallahu feek. So the first question I'm going to use to kick off the conversation is, what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? Broadly speaking, when it comes to the idea of business and entrepreneurship amongst or within our community. So I'll start off with Dr. Kazeem. What are we doing right? Let's give ourselves a pat on the back, and let's very quickly then give ourselves a scolding. What do we need to improve on? What are those things that are really holding us back?
Well, this question you just asked us is really when the Yoruba people will say, is all encompassing, right? Saying what do we do right and what are we doing wrong. I think we are going to start with individuals as a starting point, right? My dear brother Kayode, Quadri, he will bear witness to this, and of course my stars Taofiq Salam. You see, when we are talking about business, it's not just I see it as it's not something that's a cap that fits all. I'm sorry to say it, right? Not all of us will be entrepreneurial, except if you want to deceive ourselves, right? And that is why when we actually want to venture into a business, the question we need to ask ourselves honest question that do we have genuine determination to venture into the business? So, and that is the beginning of what I think we are doing wrong within this community, right? That could be influenced by a lot of factors, right? It could be that maybe our upbringing, our exposure to life, the people we mingle with, right? We influence the answer, the genuine answer to that honest question. Okay, so in other words, what I'm trying to say is that I think one of the things that we are doing wrong within the community, right, is the fact that we are not really asking that honest question. You see, Taofiq Salam into real estate. Oh, real estate, not to jump into it. You see, Kayode Quadri doing money transfer. Oh, I must start my money transfer. You understand? You see people selling grocery. Oh, this is very viable. You want to jump into it, right? So the honest question we seems not to be asking ourselves, and that is why you see a lot of business in March 2009 to March 2010. There was a statistics that I tried to follow up some time ago. We had about 360,000 businesses registered within that period. But you'll be surprised that within that period alone, 500,000 business collapsed. Right? And we've not actually started talking about the ideas that we did not even hear about at all. We have millions of ideas that, because of interest, maybe you find yourself in a coffee shop, you see that coffee shops blooming with business, with a lot of customers. Oh, I need to open a coffee shop too. So the first thing that we are not doing right as a community and as an individual as a starting point is the fact that we do not really, ask ourselves this honest question that, do we have genuine determination to venture into business? Is there a genuine hunger for it? Do we actually have the DNA for entrepreneurship? Right? All these are things that we need to ask ourselves as an individual. And as an extension, as community, right? So that is what I think we are not really doing well on. And what are we doing right?
Before we come to you on that, Brother Kayode, do you have anything that you want to chip in on that? Because he started from the reverse, what we're not really doing correctly or what we could improve upon. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you. The thing is, looking at it from the angle of the things we are doing right and the things we are doing wrong. I would like to look at it from the angle of the strength and weaknesses. You understand? Sometimes we need to look internally to see where we have competitive advantage. You understand? Because that's always there when it comes to if we look at it from the community angle. But from the individual angle, I think what we are doing right is what we are doing now. Trying to see how we can reorient people, trying to see how we can sensitize people. Because one thing we need to be conversant with is all of us, we are products of our knowledge and experiences. That is what makes whatever decision we take. So now, this little talk we're having now might have an impact on somebody, and they take the decision that, okay, I also want to go into business, you understand? And some people, it will actually put them away from it. Say, no, entrepreneurship is not for me. It's not a must that people have to be entrepreneurs. Well, it's just the main thing is for them to be able to pursue something that will not keep them in the position of, having to, beg other people. You understand? Everybody cannot be entrepreneur. Some will be, some will not be. But if the people have need, if the people have that need, what we are doing today is something to help that need for them. To say, okay, yeah, there's space for you to run whatever you want to run. You can do it. You understand? So I'll just leave it at that for now. The strength and the weaknesses is what we need to look at within this community, and hopefully, inshallah, Allah will help us to be able to get something better from this.
Ameen. So can we have Ustaz T come through now? Bismillah. Your thoughts on the topic?
Yeah, Bismillah, sallallahu wa sallim ala rasulillah. I think may Allah reward you, K Money, and for the one who doesn't understand who I call K Money, I call Kayode Quadri K Money. So that is the logo, the brand that he has not been paying for, So and K Salam, Allah be with them. I know what they do. That's why I think we are in this forum. I think the key idea is we want to do a bit of mindset.
Ustaz T, we're losing your voice, so maybe if you switch off your video, then the voice might come through clearly. All right. As we wait for Ustaz. Okay, Bismillah. I think we got you back now. If you switch off your video,
you got me back now?
You better.
Sorry,
yeah.
My internet I'm very remote in Nigeria somewhere. So the point is, we need to do a mindset engineering, changing the mindset of the Muslims. Okay. Okay. All right. That's fine. I think you can hear me now. Can you?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the mindset is the key thing. If the Muslims also changes their mindset from the fact that actually, before we start asking people for money in our mosque, we need to teach them how to make the money. Because if you know, the culture within our community is that we are always funding racing. We're always asking people, please contribute. We want to build a mosque. Please contribute. We have orphanage. Please contribute. We have widows. Please contribute. There's a brother in problem. Please contribute. We are always asking people to contribute. But we talk less about how do those people make money. Because number one, of the prohibitive mindset, the people that preaches that everything is haram. And that doesn't open the mind of people to wanting to do some business. That's number one. Number two is the fear that, okay, can I also do business? Can I also do business? Number three is the assume the mindset where the Muslims is lay back. He doesn't want to take risk. He doesn't want to take risk because everything to him is qadar. So he doesn't have the drive to take risk, to try something. And you know, as these two practical entrepreneurs I've mentioned, K-Money is a practical person and he has gained some, you know, beautiful experience in his business. Salam is also, I know what he has done. He has spoken to me about a few things in the past. And I know that these brothers, they are there making money. May Allah Ta'ala bless your wealth. Now, the message that I want to pass to those people who are watching right now and those that will be watching is that the Muslims, we have too much problem within our community that requires money. Too much, especially those of us that people call for problems. There is too much problems. Assuming that you cannot take risk, settling for less, and just assuming that it is the qadar of Allah, when you are not the secretary of Allah, you do not know what has been written in that qadar. It is a wrong way to think. And this is why this type of forum is trying to, you know, educate the Muslims to say, come on, take knowledge, get up and do something about, because that passion can be turned into profit. That passion can be turned into profit. For the one who is closer to me, they know my passion about fashion and interior design. And those two things, I have turned them into profitable business. In fact, in Nigeria right now, there's somebody who is asking me about, oh, where did you buy your cap from? Where did you do your kaftan from? So I just called my tailor and said, you know what, we might start a business. So somebody is asking me about where did I buy the cap from? Where did I buy the kaftan from? Maybe I will start the business. I will sell the kaftan for him for 50,000. You will do it for me for 30,000. I will make 15,000 profits. That is entrepreneurship. 1 + 1 might not be equal to 2. End of story. Bam. Just selling kaftan. The way I sell blazers and shirt and ties to some of my bosses in the UK. Are you with me? So the way we sell rooms to some people right now, the same way K-Money sells money, foreign exchange, or Salam sells, you know, supermarket and is into real estate now, even though he has not invited me into that real estate business. So, but the point of contention is that we are doing something, okay? We are doing something. A lot of brothers in Nigeria, they are doing a lot of things now. Now note, whoever is listening to this, note that in your mind, there is something you can also do. All you need to do is to identify those things that you can do, as long as they follow what K-Money mentioned. Are they relating to an existing problem within the community? When you offer that thing that you are passionate about, can they solve a problem? If they can solve a problem, then their money will be coming in. So I think what the two experts today will be talking about is how can we change our mindset from the Muslim who settle for less and the Muslim who is ready to take risk and get up and do something, so that when you make that money, and we're not asking people to go and make money in order for them to go and build houses on top of water. No, we're not asking them to go and make money to buy Bugatti and live extravagant life. That's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is right now, there are 8 mosques in Nigeria, 8 mosques that I know about. People coming to me, they want to build mosque. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even if I'm the Dangote of my streets, I don't have the money to build the 8. But if you work and you make cool halal money and you build more your mosque, note, my good listener, note that when you build the mosque, that mosque will be there when you are rotting in your grave, whether you like it or not, and it will be Sadaqah Tujariyah for you. That is what we are calling to. We are not calling to wealth so that you can go spray money on Wasiu Ayinde. That's not what we are calling to. What we are calling to is we want you to go make money so that you can help us build Oken Road Mosque, so that you can join us in Nigeria and build mosque, so that you can join us in many orphanages in Nigeria and sponsor orphans to school, so that you can help us support some widows in Nigeria, so that you can help us, so that you can help us with some brothers who are struggling in the UK financially when they come to us, so we can call upon you. That is why we are asking, so that you can use your money to buy Ishe Lada, Ishe Sari. What I call Ishe Lada, Ishe Sari are things that when you are gone, those things can still meet you in your barzakh. My prayer is that Allah will give us good understanding. So, Chairman, Mr. Akinpeju, I will leave it in your competent hands to drill. Make sure you drill. These people here, they're not just theoretical people, brothers. They are experts in what they do. Drill them and let them pour out some secrets of how to do with this, and then I will just be at the scene, and you can call me before we close, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum wa salamu
alaikum. Salam. Barakallahu feek. And thanks for providing that context that we're doing all of this really for the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So barakallahu feek for that. So practical question number one. A lot of people have mentioned the issue of raising capital when it comes to a business, because you can't just start from nowhere. And you know what I mean, costs that we're experiencing on a day-to-day sometimes makes it prohibitive for us to actually be able to, you know, save money. So when it comes to, you have a great idea, but what is lacking is your ability to get it off the ground because of the high capital, how intensive it is in the beginning. What are those solutions that we can potentially think about as a community? And I want to start with Dr. K, because you mentioned this in your start that your PhD, one of the focus areas was around raising capital. So when it comes to that topic, what can we do? We know our mamas and babas used to have, you know, a job that they used to do. And perhaps that works on a small scale, perhaps it works on a big scale. But what are those things we can do? Perhaps if there's concerns around those types of models, what are the ways we can reinvent it to make sure that they don't fall down, they don't cause kind of breach of trust and breakdown of trust within the community? What can we do when it comes to this topic, important topic of raising capital without falling into riba? Barakallahu.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, you see, business generally, I will start by saying that capital generation is something that comes not the first step, first thing to think of when you want to venture into business. I'm happy we are looking at it from practical perspectives. Alhamdulillah, we have been doing within different ventures. But I can tell you categorically that all the businesses I've ventured into in my life, right? Those ones that are most successful today, or that had been so much successful, when I started them, I did not have capital. I did not have enough capital to start them. The one that I had enough capital to start with didn't do well, for your information. I'm telling you the real life situation here now. So I'm saying this so that I can allay the fear of our audience that capital, when you have an idea, you generate an idea, you perceive an idea, you should not allow capital to be a showstopper for you. That's the first point. Now, once you have that conviction about your idea, right? I know the chairman wanted me to talk about the capital generation, so I don't want to twist the question, but I would have loved to take people around some aspects before capital, but let's just focus on capital now. So once you have the idea generated, you are convinced about the idea, there are different ways through which you can raise capital, right? And now we start by saying, using practical experience we have in our environment, right? I have the opportunity of working for PwC in the past. When I look at the history of PwC, the PwC did not start by just one individual, right? Right? People came together, partners came together to start the business. If you are not into accounting practice, we always hear Marks and Spencer. Even from the name, we know that it's not just one individual. It's Marks and what? Spencer. Right? And many names, KPMG, name it. Many great businesses, even going back to Nigeria where we came from. The zenith of today, where I worked for almost a decade, the GT Bank we have today, all these banks, they didn't start with just one person getting the capital who need to get that together. You have to form partnership with people, right? So, and this is the way one of the ways through which you can actually raise capital. If you want to start a business and you think, oh, you're going to have the whole capital to start, most of the time you don't get this business idea nurtured, not to talk of getting to where you want to get to. That's one way of. So in a nutshell, what we are saying is that partnership is one of the main means of raising capital. And this is something that I believe that we could actually do within the community, right? Now, there is another way that through which we could actually raise capital, and that is what we call the crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is becoming very popular in this Western world, right? Where you have an idea, you sell the idea to people, let them invest in the idea, you tell them the profits, you give them the profit, the feasibility, you do the feasibility studies, and then you sell the idea to them, people invest in your business, in your idea, and then once you start, you share the profit based on the agreed percentage. So crowdfunding in between 2014 and 2017 alone, 2014 to 2015 alone, billions of pounds were raised through crowdfunding, just to by the new entrants into business, right? The startups in the UK. So that's another way through which we can raise capital. Another way through which you can raise capital, you see, there is something that we make, the mistake we make within the Africa community, right? Not, I'm trying to generalize now. We believe so much that when you have an idea, you should be the only one that should own that idea. You don't want to share the profits with anybody. You don't want to share the reward with anybody. So, and when you don't share rewards, then you are going to carry the risk by yourself. So the ability to say, okay, this is the idea I've got. It's going to cost us 100K to do this business. And then this is what we plan to do, to make maybe 20K out of it. I'm happy if you give me 100K, we do this business, 10K belongs to you, 15K belongs to you, 5K for me. So that kind of idea selling is something that another way through which we can actually raise funds among ourselves. So I will pause there for Alhaji Quadri to add to this.
Absolutely. So yes, can I have Brother Kayode also give his views on this, and perhaps there's going to be questions being rumbling in the minds of the viewers that is equity funding the only means by which we can legitimately raise capital amongst Muslims? We've not talked about any debt financing. Obviously, we're worried about riba. Is there anything in that area, or even with the equity financing, is there any way to make it look a bit more like that from the perspective of perhaps in the contract it says every 10 years, I'm able to buy a stake that I sold to you in the first place. So maybe we start, it's my idea, we start 50-50 because you're the one who come with the capital, but I want to be able to buy back my stakes. Like, what are those things that we can do to mitigate people's concerns that you have? Because yes, it's a natural concern. Or I worked and nurtured this idea. Yes, there's that issue of I want to chop a loan, but even with that, perhaps there's an element of it that how do we assuage that person that, okay, you're not going to be able to keep it all, but inshallah, if the business is successful, perhaps you'll be able to claw back some of that equity that you had to let go of in order to get the business off the ground. So inshallah, let's have Brother Kayode comment on that.
Thank you again. I think the area you're going to now is a bit technical when you're talking about well, I think what we should focus on at this stage, anybody that's talking about the level you're talking about now, we need to talk to experts. Number one, people who understand the real riba issues, or people who have finance background, like my brother here is a finance expert as a doctor, so he might be able to deal with that. I'm an entrepreneur just on the streets, and I try to take the advantage of things that I see that are simple around me. You understand? And when it comes to raising capital, like he said, I'm going to buttress what he said, because he mentioned that the first thing is the idea generation, which is the perfect thing. Yeah, we live in psychological world. We don't live in that age where everybody's looking for capital to do things. If you look at the biggest companies in the world today, it's other people's money. It's OPP now. Okay. Nobody goes to I want to sit down until I have capital. That's gone. It's not in this era again. So I'll give you an example. I always give that example. Look at Uber, for example. They don't have one taxi, but they control the biggest taxi company in the world. Look at Airbnb. They don't have one house. They're the biggest property company in the world. You understand? So what they're doing is taking advantage of technology. You understand? Which is the simplest thing. When you look at, for example, I'll give you a practical example. We have a project that we're doing in Ibadan. I think Salam, Kayode, and everybody, most of our brothers know about it. This project, when we started, it was little. I'll shock you. The whole amount that's been used on that project will not be less than 3 billion naira. And it was raised on WhatsApp group. Do you understand? WhatsApp group like you have here, okay, the club like minds, we have this project, let's do this. People come together because they say if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you really want to go far, you have to go with other people. So you can trying to do anything by yourself in this time and age, you won't go that far. You won't go that far, but you need that synergy. The synergy is important in the real world we are now. Many people, you see them on Facebook. There's a lot to be done on Facebook other than just watching some people's videos. You see people on Instagram. There's huge money being made on Instagram. Rather than if you have that Instagram page, there's a lot you can do with it that can change your whole financial life. So for me, I'm not looking at the technicalities now, whereby we go into, okay, the equity, this equity, that, you understand? That's I'm going to leave that to the experts. I'm just talking about, or people looking at startups. We're trying to reorient people who are in 9-to-5 jobs, because many people are in 9-to-5 jobs, they have that entrepreneurial spirit, but they just don't know how to go about it. Yeah, that's the, for that one, most of them need startups. Most of the startups is about idea. In startup, you are the capital. You, the person, is the capital. People mostly invest in you, yeah, because sometimes people will bring ideas to you. You are not really investing in that idea, you're investing in that person. Because you know that person, number one, you can trust them. You know, that issue of trust is there, you can trust them. You know that they're not just going to go mess around with money that you're giving them. And when they present something to you, you know that they have dedication to be able to achieve those things. So in the new world that we live in now, you are the capital. If you are able to sort yourself, by the time you bring ideas to the table, people will listen and money will come. It's about you, like I said before, it's about you identifying a problem, yeah, finding a solution. Money will always follow. Money will always follow.
Wow.
I think I'll just leave it there for now, yeah.
Perfect. I think there are amazing gems there for anyone who didn't catch them. I'm going to throw them back into the cage again so that you can really pick it up. I love the idea of other people's money in the perspective of it's a bygone age where capital should be what holds you back. You have the idea, you demonstrate that you've really researched it, your feasibility studies, and those who believe in that homework that you've done, that work ethic that you have. You can't be a lazy person and just say, I have an idea, and you think that nobody's going to invest in you, right? That you are the capital. So once again, that should be encouraging to everyone on the line, that as long as I tie my camel and I demonstrate to those around me that I'm somebody worth investing in, even just from the fact that they want to perhaps help that light shine a bit brighter within you, they might be able to give you something. So mashallah, I think that's an amazing takeaway for anyone who didn't pick that up. So I think alhamdulillah, we've touched on a few topics so far around, you know, what are we doing wrong, what are we doing right, the idea of partnerships. Now, there is something that I've observed within our community that, and there's two bits here. On the one hand, when it comes to partnerships, well, some people are of the opinion they're very quick to or happy to partner perhaps with non-Muslims, but when it comes to their fellow Muslim brother, perhaps it's around the work ethic perspective that this person is just gonna treat this like a 9-to-5. And it's like, I'm not looking for a 9-to-5, I'm looking for somebody who's going to hustle. Perhaps it's that. But what can we do to reorientate ourselves as a community, to give ourselves a chance? You can't paint everyone with the same brush. What can we do to reorientate from that perspective? And second, perhaps as well, I need to take, and perhaps the organizers of this this program, because I'm one of them, need to take some heed here. But I've seen on the sisters side of things, actually, alhamdulillah, they're very good at supporting one another. A sister comes up with a business, mashallah. All of the sisters within her space are trying to promote her, are trying to, whether it's a catering business, a decorating business. Sisters, mashallah, are very good at that. How can we learn from the brother's side to also be as, encouraging and as enabling? And inshallah, if we have future sessions like this, we'll make sure we have a voice of a sister within the world of entrepreneurship also representing, so that they can share some thoughts. But on those two questions, on the one hand, how can we change that mindset of, this Muslim is gonna not. I don't want to partner with them. I want to partner with a non-Muslim. And on the second end, from the brother's side, how can we, learn from our sisters and be a bit more encouraging, almost like cheerleading for our brothers who are pushing themselves within the arena of business. So we start off with Dr. K.
Okay. Yeah. I think the way I see this question you're asking us, these two questions, before we dwell into these two questions, there are some areas that I think we are missing out. Okay. I'm a very practical person. Okay. I won't just promise everybody that wants to go into business that yes, it's going to be positive. And that is an area we need to address. And the reason why I want to raise it is that this is where issues comes in, right? Somebody comes to you with an idea. Oh, this is the idea. I've done my feasibility studies. I'm going to make 100K within 6 months. And then you buy into the idea without understanding the fact that, yes, your feasibility studies might be right. Everything on the figure, on the paper, black and white, spot on, right? But you are not giving room for things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So at every point in time, when you want to go into a business or a venture, either on your own or as a partner with somebody else, right? We need to first of all understand the fact that the business, yes, everything is ticked, but that business will still go wrong. We need to prepare ourselves for that. If we don't do that, then it's just like we are bidding something on nothing and we expect it to stay. Okay, so the first step is that when you are into a particular venture, ask yourself a question. Because in that business, you prepare as the person that brought if you're the owner of the idea, you need to prepare yourself for the time you are going to run out of cash. You need to prepare yourself for the time you are going to run out of customer if you are into buy and sell or even services, right? You need to think of, okay, the time you are going to lose deal, right? The time you are going to be rejected. So from day one, you need to figure into your calculation what we call the pain threshold. What is your pain threshold, right? That, okay, if this happens, right, what do I do? And in most cases, and this is where Islamic perception, which I won't dwell in because we have our stars on call, right? This is where Islamic perspective comes in, right? That you don't just look at the positive side, you also look at the negative side too, right? So that is just the beginning of having a structured partnership with your fellow Muslims. Because from the experience, I think where people feel like, oh, they don't want to deal with their fellow Muslims, started from that particular point. We are not always upfront with the fact that, I want to start this business. What if this happens? What if that happens? You promise, oh, you're going to make 20% profit. What if you don't make profit at all? Prepare their mind from the beginning. And then those people will then be able to say, okay, this is my risk threshold. This is what I want to venture into. Yes, I'm happy. Let me give you an example. We have the last governor of the late Ajimobi, right, in Oyo State. He allocated 500 acres of land for myself and two of my partners in Nigeria, right? Of course, we had to spend money on it, do some other stuffs. But from day one, I realized that, okay, why am I going to invest in these things that if it doesn't go ahead eventually, it won't impact me? You understand? So from day one, if I know I've cut my risk. So if that business eventually crumble now, right, I know that it won't impact me. So that is the beginning. And when we have that upfront discussion with our fellow Muslims, we are going to have a smooth ride. That's number one. Number two.
On that point, so is it fair to say that only invest what you're happy to lose, and perhaps only invest in a venture that perhaps you're ready to double down on, because money could run out? Are you going to say you're going to allow the business to go to ruin because of a little bit more cash inflow that's needed? So are those perhaps principles? Because I love the term you coined there around your pain threshold. Really understand it. In any business, it's going to be upside or kind of high case, low case. Understand it's a range. It could be anything within that. 20% is a target, but you're not necessarily going to achieve that. So alhamdulillah, I think that's important for us to realize in business. Can I have, and thank you, please note down what you're going to say next. I just want to make sure we get Brother Kayode in on this as well. Whether more generally, specifically the questions I asked or anything that you thought, perhaps even that comes before then, but more generally when it comes to partnerships and, you know what I mean, being happy to work with fellow Muslims, what's the situation there? What are your thoughts? How can we get to a stage where we're more trusting of one another, or we're more ready to start doing partnerships with one another?
Thank you. The thing is, I think for me, I love to do business with Muslims. Yeah, I actually give them the first right of refusal if I can. You understand? That's the whole essence of what we are doing today. So if we have Muslims who are competent, well, you're not going to go give your business to somebody because he's a Muslim and he's not competent. It wouldn't make any sense, because at the end of the day, both of you will lose, and there will be infighting over things. So the major thing is that, okay, the partnership you want to form with somebody, what is the person bringing to the table? The person might be bringing expertise, even if they don't have money. Some people might be bringing money and they don't have expertise. So you just have to look at people, what exactly they can bring to the table, and that's what you decide whatever you're doing on. It won't be because it's just a Muslim. No, it's something that we want to make money from, or we are investing money into. So we have to, even if I'm going to be a partner with you and we're going to get somebody else who is not a Muslim, who's got the know-how to do it, then we do it. But the first is that, okay, how do we, because I've been having some few issues, I always ask, okay, can we get somebody within the community that can actually do this? It might be a IT solution that we need to do for our product, or this and that. If I have somebody within the community who has the knowledge, and I'll be glad to go to them, because it's easier for them to understand the nitty-gritty of what you need. I'll give you an example. I'm trying to do on our K-Money business now, we're trying to do some promo on it. The gentleman that is running our backend is not Muslim. So by the time he sends me all the flyers, it's filled with Christmas. So Christmas. You understand? So you can look at that now. Then I have to start reorienting him that, okay, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to retain. This is what we want to take out. But if he was a Muslim, I don't even need to go that far. They know, okay, how we can say the same thing, but in a different way. And we say achieve the same results. You get what I mean? So it's, I think the first thing the first right of refusal should be for our Muslim brothers, if they have that understanding and the knowledge, and they fit what we exactly want to do, because it's always about fit when it comes to partnership. It's not just because he's my friend or just because that fit has to be there. That, okay, this person and myself, we fit in terms of these like minds, and we can run things. So that's how I see that. And I will really encourage that, okay, this forum that you have here, where is there a way that, because the world we live in now, either we like it or not, is driven by technology. Almost everything what we're doing now, we're doing this on technology now. You've never met me, I've never met you, but now we are talking. After this program now, you might be calling me, I might be calling you, brother Taofeeq, what's happening? You're an expert in this and that. I have this problem, can you solve it for me? And that is what technology does. I mentioned the issue of WhatsApp the other time. Some people, the only thing they do on WhatsApp is just send funny videos, while some people are forming groups and making, changing the world through the same WhatsApp. We all have access to that, you understand? So with this forum now, what exactly can we achieve in terms of, okay, because we like the brother said earlier, in as much as we're looking at ourselves, we have to be looking at the generation that's coming behind us, our children. We have to start telling them, letting them understand how to hold the bull by the horn. I went to a restaurant with my son one day, and we were eating, and I was asking him, how's the food? He said, it's nice. And I said, you see people coming around giving us what we want. Are you okay? Are you this? So, do you think the owner of this restaurant is here now? He said, no, I don't think so. I said, okay, look here now. How many people are seated here? He said, let's say about 800. I said, okay, 800. Let's do a calculation. Let's say each person is spending about 40 pounds on average. How much have they made within this time space that we're here? He was doing calculation. Dad is about this. Okay. So let's say they open for 8 hours in a day. And we calculate, this is how much the owner of this place is making within this time space. But we have just come here to sit down to enjoy the service. You understand? If your mind is open, you are seeing the business side of you sitting down to enjoy. But if your mind is not open, you are only there to just see the food and enjoy the food and go home. So our children, we need to start opening their eyes to see the opportunities around them, or else they'll just grow up to enjoy things other people will do, and they will not do anything. They they finish from school, they carry CV looking for a job, and there is no job. And then you have to create job. You have to, if you cannot just say, okay, you want to be looking for a job. Some people created it. Why? Who says they cannot create it? So the Muslim community needs to be in the forefront, changing the way things work, especially even for our own community, because
I think we lost Brother Kayode there, but I'm going to beg the indulgence of both speakers and also our guests that perhaps if we can run 15 minutes over, I'll cap it at that, just so that we can get through some of the questions that have come through. So inshallah, either some of the points that you wanted to contribute, that you've not yet had the opportunity to contribute, or you can weave it into your responses to the questions. And inshallah, rather than have both answer the same questions, inshallah, try and mix and match. If majority of it has already been answered, then inshallah, just take it off. And inshallah, perhaps it's also better if you type in your questions, just so that I can group them together and provide them to the speakers. All right then, so first question is, how do we correctly apply the principle of starting small? And what are the ways we can take to transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur? Is that a false dichotomy in and of itself? Can you not be both? But inshallah, let's go to Dr. K for those first few questions. Can you please give us some insight on those two?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I will also, that question is embedded in the fact that what sort of business you want to venture into, right? And then the supplementary question to that is it you want to consider it as an hobby or as a venture, as a business, right? And I will start with the first one. You see, there are some mistakes we make, right? There's what we call there's a concept in management, we call it Pareto theory, right? the theory says that whatever you are doing, any resources, you should use your 20% of your resources to make 80% of your returns or income, something like that. Yeah. So if you are, and I want to be, as I said, I want to be practical here, because if we are not practical, we are not doing ourselves any favor, right? If you are into you are in employment where you have 6 figures salary, okay, and you feel like you want to go into business, and that business is something that will be giving you maybe £500 monthly as a starting point, you need to ask yourself that, is this kind of business you want to venture into? This is something that has really dealt a big a blow on many people, right? They leave their business, they are on 6-figure salary, they go into, because they know that the Asians that are making money from vegetables, they will also, I want to start selling vegetable. And then they get there, they realize that all these things, all this waking up by 3 a.m., coming back at 10 p.m., I'm only earning just £100 per month, per week or per month. You'll be surprised that's just the net take home for these people, right? So, and before you know it, the enthusiasm will be lost. In fact, that person, after when doing the business for maybe 2, 3, 5, 6 months, or even a year, and you realize that what is making and is affecting where it's making 6 figures, we just drop it. That's what kind of rubbish is this? If it's not somebody that has entrepreneurship in his DNA, when you talk about business, we say, no, don't bring any business here. You understand? So this is practical issue we face, right, within the community. So the question you need to ask yourself is that, okay, the business you are going to, is this something that is commensurate with what you are currently earning, right? And by extension, if you spend 20% of your time on this business, at the long run, will it give you 80% of your income? Right? If the answer is no, I will advise that you think twice. It's just pure practicality. Right? That's one thing. Then, going to this other one, that is it venture, a business, or hobby? Right? Some of us, you might say, okay, yeah, if it's a business, you know that you go into it wholeheartedly. If it is venture, if it is an hobby, it's just something that you just want to be doing by the side, right? You know the level of commitment you are going to put into it, right? And then maybe after some time, maybe you work towards, you continue as hobby, and when you want to retire, when you are nearing your retirement, you know you've created some bucket of you have some assets that you can rely on. What I mean by asset means you have some customer base, you have some, you have the technical know-how, you have the experience, you have all those assets you can rely on, because you've taken it as an hobby, right? That means it's not your core income. That's not your real income. It's just an hobby. So those are the questions we should ask ourselves before we start transiting from 9 to 5 to business.
Taofeeq. Next, I'm going to ask Robert K. When we listen to people who have been very successful in their sphere, most mention having mentors who guide them to the zenith. How do we access mentors? And while you're answering that, can I ask Uncle T to start thinking about a response to Brother Lamre Bakari's question around what is our community doing in terms of mentoring in business? Because aside from the beautiful points raised, there needs to be mentoring across the generation lines. Aside today's discussion, what is the platform doing in creating more consistent awareness among our community? So inshallah, we'll come back to that. But for now, we start off with the first question to Brother Kayode. Bismillah.
Pardon me, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure thing. So the question was that people who have reached success in their careers often, or in their spheres, also often talk about having mentors. So how do we go about accessing mentors, especially in this area of entrepreneurship?
Well, when it comes to mentorship, I think sometimes it depends on where exactly you're looking at it from. My niece was finishing from uni, and she said she wants to go. She did law, so I told her that, come, you have to go and look at the people who are successful in that area that you want to focus on. If it's business law or whatever law, look at 10 people. Prepare a very good CV, send it to them. People don't really reject mentorship. Yeah, people don't really reject mentorship. And you find maybe 4 or 5 of them, if they see your CV attractive, you understand, they see that what you're asking for is mentorship. Mentorship helps you a lot because the doors those ones have passed through is there for them to just open for you when it comes to mentorship. So you just have to try to go around, look at people who have been successful in what you want to do, and engage with them, see if you can get opportunity from them. Mentorship, I think it's beautiful if you have mentors. However, and you can always get people that will be happy to accept you as their mentee.
Taofeeq. And I think just to add to that, LinkedIn is your friend on that. Of all the kind of networks out there, it's the one geared more towards professionalism. So even if you reached out to somebody cold, it's not frowned upon, as opposed to if you try to reach out to somebody. And even then, if Instagram is where somebody is, perhaps they won't take it away that you reached out to them there. So really, for somebody who approaches it in a professional way, in a polite way, in a respectful way, try to reach out to those who are within those fields that you identify as being successful. You approach it in a professional way, inshallah. As Kayode mentioned, most people don't turn down the opportunity to be mentors. So as I asked Uncle Taofeeq to address that last question that I read out around what is the platform doing more generally to foster a consistent awareness amongst the community, can I ask both Dr. K and Kayode to think about your closing or wrap-up remarks? What do you want to leave the people with, inshallah? So, Uncle T.
Yeah, inshallah ta'ala, I think there are a lot of work. Sorry, I'm about to step out of the house so you can see different cats up there. We have a lot of forums, alhamdulillah, that we are actually doing behind the scene. One of them that is very dear to my heart is the one that is training the Muslim women. You know, directly or indirectly, I'm involved. Training the Muslim women who are wives with children, who are empowered to work from the corners of their rooms, you know, and they are making money from the corners of their rooms. Alhamdulillah, I have a session last night with one of the sisters, one of my very young girl. Alhamdulillah, she's doing very well with full support from her husband in London. And as you all know, majority of people who are watching, we are open to ideas where we want to see people doing well. It's just our mantra, what we are made for. We love to see other people doing well. So for the one who doesn't know what's going on, there are a lot of forums among the Muslim sisters doing e-commerce business online. You know, the people that are not doing business, they are having works to be doing remotely from the houses. Some of them that they go out of the house to go and work. We want to redefine the way the Muslim women work. So if you're going to work and you're making a few thousands of pounds, we want to ask questions. Is there a way you can make more money than that? Because sometimes it's all about how much money you have within your household, isn't it? And that amount of money can help you joint venture with other people with like-minded to start something small. And as our experts have said, it's not about you doing it by yourself. A lot of people, they contact us and then we channel them into other areas. That's one. Another one is the training that we have we've had this for a long time now. Alhamdulillah, that the people who have benefited in the past are now coming back to give back. And that is training people into IT, project management, business analysis, core IT testing, cybersecurity, and all those forums. Well, alhamdulillah, every day there is a good news coming out. One thing that I want to let people know is that, as Salam had already said before, not everybody will have the entrepreneurial drive or spirit, but you can start doing so. Even if you're the office type of person, do it well. Do it in a way that you can provide for your family. Do it in a way that you can support others. There are many Muslims, around us, that their level of selflessness, what I call selflessness, is the ability to help others. Their level of selflessness is zero. And we see it every day. They are so self-centered and so selfish that it is all about what they want to ask from other people. And this is an open forum now. We want people to know that being self-centered, being selfish, it doesn't take you yourself anywhere, because it doesn't bring any benefit to you. So to start about thinking about, okay, all right, so if I know about this forum, let me introduce Brother Lagbaja, Sister Tamedun into it. We benefit the Sister Lagbaja, Brother Tamedun. And those benefits, we're not intending that those benefits that we're spreading to other people should come back to us. That's not our intention. That's not our intention, because we don't need anything from anyone except from Allah. But at least you care. Even if it's about caring, you train yourself to not be a selfish person, to not be somebody who wants to think about you, your family, without even asking about other people. Maybe they are struggling as well. To have the mentality of you want to help the Muslims. I think this is it. So the Muslim forums, under the Muslim platform, we have the BA brains, we have the Scrum brains, we have the project brains, we have those different brains. Now we have the Muslim women who are doing what they're doing. And my forum, my consultancy, the charity that I do, is open to any Muslim with business idea, and they want to build that business. All you just need to do is to book half an hour session with me on a Friday call between 5 and 11. And inshallah, we'll be there. For those people that say, oh, we've been calling, we've not got in touch with you. It's not one forum that we deal with on our Friday calls. We deal with marital issue, we deal with personal issue, we deal with the spiritual issue, and we are dealing with business issue as well. So inshallah, this is where I will stop, and I hope that this is beneficial, and we'll continue doing more of this type of forum in the future, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Taofeeq. And can I ask the admin brothers to post the link to the brother WhatsApp group and the sisters WhatsApp group respectively? Please signpost it, and sisters join the sisters WhatsApp group, brothers join the brothers WhatsApp group, and then any queries you have around joining those other groups that Ustaz mentioned, we'll sort it from there. We
will not post them publicly because now we have a structure. The structure is now, we're now recruiting. The BA brain someone just mentioned, there's now a structure to it. What we have found, let me just say that quickly before we go. What we have found is the Muslims are laid back when something is free. Some people have access to that BA brain, but they're not taking opportunity. So now we want to remove some of the brothers and sisters that are not doing anything. We want to add people that are ready to take actions. So we are not going to open it to everybody. We are only going to open it to only people that are ready to take actions. Because when you are not paying for something, somebody that called my line on a Friday between 5 and 11, they don't pay anything until they go to a consultancy in East London where they are paid £285 per half an hour. And then they now come back with the one-page solution that they give them. Then I look at it, I was like, is this all they tell you? This is what you are paying for. And now you're not. So now I'm going to start charging you. But I'm not charging for our dawah purpose. May Allah Ta'ala, what we ask people to do for us is to make dua for us. Message to the brothers, if you have the opportunity to be in BA brains, take advantage. If you're not taking advantage, we're going to remove you. Not because we are harsh, but we want to make sure that people are taking actions. So if anybody wants to join, be on the Muslim platform, sisters, be on the Muslim platform, brothers, contact one of the admins. My number is a PLC. Get my number, send a WhatsApp number, a message, and then we'll channel you to where to go, inshallah.
Barakallahu feek for those practical next steps for those who want to take action. So inshallah, I know 1 minute is not a lot of time, but I don't want the session to go too much beyond what we promised. And please, the admin brothers, can you please, or any of them from the Shura, please post the links to the brothers WhatsApp group, Muslim platform, and the sisters WhatsApp group, inshallah, while our esteemed speakers give their wrap-up remarks and final gems that they want to leave us with. We start off with Brother Kayode, inshallah.
Just to wrap up, just tell a little story about my own journey. Because I want to believe that most of the people here are just same people like me. And just mostly our journeys are the same and we want to achieve the same thing. If you, whatever job you're doing, just try to be the best at it. Whatever job, even if you're in a 9 to 5 and you're thinking, just try to be the best at it. There will be opportunities later for you for what you have done well. Definitely, there will be things that you will see as a reward to that. In the UK, when I came to the UK in 2005, I didn't even know where to go. I didn't even know what to do. I did every odd job that you can think about. That's the honest truth. Nobody's just coming from Nigeria and just thinking, oh, but alhamdulillah, my mind was open. I might be doing this now, but I might be here now, but I know that this is not where I want to be. I want to do something else. So my mind is open. So when I see opportunities, I try to tap into it. And that is trying to go back to the person that was asking the question about moving from, I think from as an employee to a startup. When I was going to start my first business, I did it for like 3 years inside my own living room, trying to see building customer base before I could go outside on the street to say, okay, I want to get an office in the high street to be able to attract more customers. I did it for about 3 years, doing it in my living room. My WhatsApp is what I was very prominent on Facebook. But when I started business, I just left Facebook. When I left Facebook, I saw what time wasting that Facebook was for me. All the things I was supposed to have achieved, I was wasting my time arguing about Messi better than Ronaldo or Buhari is better than Gagaba. All this nonsense that has nothing to do with my life personally, But the moment I left that and started focusing on business, the time was there for me to actually be able to achieve other things. And I didn't just move. So I didn't just move saying, I just want to fire my boss today. I'm not working again. No, I was moving gradually. I saw that, okay, the amount I started making in this business now can match how much I paid monthly where I was working. So that's the first. When I said, okay, now with this now, if I'm getting an office here to run this business, the amount I'm making, even from inside my house, can pay for the rent of that place and leave a little bit for me. That's when I went into the high street. And alhamdulillah, all is history today. All is history today. There's nobody that cannot do these things. There's nothing that I have achieved in life that people around me cannot achieve a lot more. Yes, it's just about the focus. I'm trying to take advantage of what we have, especially, I will repeat it, especially technology. Technology is huge. Huge. So I'll leave it at that. Like the brother said, we're not trying to make money just to be arrogant. We're trying to make money hoping that the money will stand for us on the day of judgment rather than be against us. May Allah accept everything that we do as ibadah and forgive our sins. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. And finally, can we have Dr. Kazeem close the show?
All right. Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, for this particular session, it's been very, I know virtually, I know, as said earlier, K-Money is a very good friend of mine. We've done a lot of things together. I know Ustaz Taofiq very well. So all of them, we've been together for quite a while. So there's nothing new that whatever they are saying here is just nothing but absolute truth. So my closing remark is one thing we need to have at the back of our mind is that we spend so much time, we waste a lot of time in our lives. He mentioned it, and I want to emphasize it. Of course, things that are happening around us might not be something that they are not what we really want to happen, particularly in our mother country, which is Nigeria. But we should always think of how do we convert the weaknesses to the strengths in our personal life and also in the community as a whole, both in Nigeria or in the UK or wherever we are listening to us today. And then we also need to look at what are the threats that we could convert to opportunities, right? In a nutshell, what we are saying is that we need to open up our mind. We need to explore opportunities. Just close your eyes to opportunities. There are lots of opportunities out there, right? As I said, based on what I said earlier, don't say, oh, because K-Money is in money transfer, I must also go into money transfer. Think outside the box, right? There are lots of opportunities out there. Our people will say, there are loads of opportunities that you could actually explore. So let's try to open up our minds to opportunities. Then the other point that I jotted out when he was talking about is idea sharing. Don't just keep idea to yourself, right? Forget the idea of if I should share my idea with somebody, my spirit doesn't work with it, and we say, forget all those things, right? Look at people to share idea with, people that you share the same thoughts, you have the same focus of life. Share the ideas with them, get their feedback. And then that will help you to nurture your idea, to structure your idea, to position yourself and position the idea as well. This is very critical. And we've done it among ourselves. And alhamdulillah is always plus, no minus, right? The third point is that know people you need to form partnership with. Form partnership with people you share the same ideology, the same principle. And this is very critical. If you form a partnership with somebody who believes that, oh, the moment they just put in money, that's all. They don't think of how to nurture the business. You just find yourself doing the business by yourself. You just be struggling, right? You need to share, you need to form partnership with people that can actually help you, not only financially, but in nurturing the business. Very critical. And that boils down to the people, right, you form the partnership with, right? And alhamdulillah, we are Muslims. Everything, when you want to go into business, the longest verse in the Quran talks about how to document transaction. If you want to go into any transaction, put it in document, put it in black and white. Forget, we are Muslim, but we have to believe, trust. Yes, we have to trust ourselves. We as accountants, we say we trust, we believe, we trust you, but we do still put in control, right? So the control we are talking about is documentation aspect of it, right? And above all, before I believe that, then, we should always look at comparative advantage. We are not competing with one another. As Muslims, we should not be seen to be competing with one another, right? But we should try to, at every point in time, to open up a comparative advantages for ourselves. If Taofiq Akinpeju is doing a business, let's look at, okay, if you are doing this, I'm into IT, okay, I can do this thing to support your business, right? And Brother Taofiq Akinpeju should not take that for granted and say, okay, oh, you are spending your time for me and you just, feasibly lie. No, offer the person a token. You understand? Offer him a what you will pay outside there to another SME. There's no freebie. If you cannot pay by that time, look for a way to pay him in the future. And you encourage one another, right? And the person who is doing this also do it with the intention of ibadah, right? Know that when you help a brother or you help a sister, it's an act of ibadah. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us.
Ameen, ameen, ameen. I want to thank from the bottom of my heart and from everyone here at the Muslim platform, both of our two brothers, Brother Kayode and Brother Kazeem, for taking the time out of their busy schedules to be with us today and dropping so many gems. SubhanAllah, the engagement we've had in the chat as well. So Barakallahu Feek to all of the audience as well, and Barakallahu Feek to Ustaz Taofiq for also joining the panel. Inshallah, the hope for this Muslim in Business series is to, in order for us to have more and more consistently, is to record offline sometimes with our guests in the form of a podcast and release. And inshallah, we still want the same level of engagement, but just through the comment section maybe. And then where needs be, we can have perhaps a big panel of all the people that we've had in the podcast come and do some Q&A sessions, just so that we can potentially get more content out more consistently. That's the hope, inshallah. So Barakallahu Feek for always supporting us and for sharing the links with your friends and family so that they also benefit. Inshallah, the WhatsApp groups are added now, so just identify the people who are admins and, you know, message them with certain questions you have if you want access to Ustaz T, for instance. That's the best way to do it. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us and apologies that we went over time, but I think nobody is going to be upset that we got more of the time of our speakers. So barakallahu feek. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.